Hello and welcome to Breakfast with Anissa McLaughlin. Anissa is a community manager and moderator, and as a community manager and moderator, she's had over 10 years of experience, and recently she's been working, I want to say for the last year, on Project Frontier, which is an action RPG that has collaborative elements. It also has some survival elements like Valheim. They also mention some team sabotage components like Among Us. So if you are into those types of games, then check out this interview. But also, if you're curious what the role of a community manager is, how to grow a community, recently they've hit 1,000 members on their Discord server. And so we go into a little bit about running Discord and running content creation as a community manager, how to attract an audience into the community of Project Frontier. And there's a lot of great insights that I found super helpful. So yeah, thank you guys for having breakfast with us. If you guys have some coffee or tea, please enjoy that with this conversation. And we will now give you the interview. Right. Hello, Anissa. Welcome to Breakfast with. This is a show. It's kind of like second breakfast. I try to keep breakfast vibes going all day, and so this show is a way to reinforce that. So, do you have anything with you for your breakfast?
I do. So
what do you have?
Yeah, so thanks to the land of Costco, I have a blueberry muffin, or at least half of it. So
those muffins are so good.
Oh my gosh,
Costco is clutch for that.
Oh, absolutely.
When I lived on my own for the first time, I lived off of Costco English muffins, Costco regular muffins, Costco croissants, and like Costco chips. And Mo had to tell me that like that's an all beige diet.
She's not wrong with that, honestly.
and I haven't changed because I still live off of bread. Like Mo started making sourdough, as many people did during 2020 and being
that.
at home and like she hasn't got into like homesteading and like canning goods. Neither of us are good with our like hands in that way, but she loves to bake. So she makes bread loaves, and I try to like just live off of that. I don't know why it's so like satisfying, but like sourdough is apparently a really big deal and really, really satisfying to eat. That's what I have. So this is my sourdough loaf, and I'm slowly learning how to bake it myself. But I don't know all the pieces. Like I only know there's something about north, east, southwest folding. There's the 2 times that it goes into the oven, one with the lid on, one with the lid off. You need your cornmeal on the pan, and then you need flour on top of the bread. But the part that I don't know about is like how you make the goo, because it's like very gooey.
Yeah, the starter.
Yes.
I just know that's a thing. That's it.
Yeah, so if you want to get into sourdough, I will ask Mo to give you some of our starter next time you come over, because it's not like other bread. Like I don't get like the feeling that I ate bread when I have sourdough. It's like this magical ingredient that it's like lumbus bread.
yeah, it's essentially like lumbus bread, where it's like, oh, this is okay. Yeah, I will say, like, I like to think that I'm a baker, because even though, like, when it comes to cooking, I mean, that for me, that's survival. Like, as long as it's edible and it sustains me, that's mission accomplished for me. But when it comes to baking, I absolutely love, like, baking pies, baking, like, cookies and all that. Bread is like the one thing that I just cannot get my hands like grasped on. Like I remember trying to make homemade Irish soda bread for something, and I thought I followed everything, but yeah, it ended up coming out of the oven like a brick, and I'm just like,
Oh no. Yeah,
cruel.
we'll have to have like a baking day and bake some bread
Yeah,
at the
I'm
house.
down.
Okay, sweet. Yeah, so what's your favorite brunch spot? You're a fellow Southern Californian and you're in the
Yes.
games industry. You're a community manager.
Hmm.
Um, and what is the brunch spot in LA, OC, or San Diego? What's your vibe?
Ooh, yeah. So I have two vibes. So it's depending on which mood, like which vibe I'm going for. If I want like a nice like sit down, there is one place in Brea that I absolutely love their eggs Benedict, and they also have like incredible French toast. Also, lomo salado. For those who are interested in that too. It's called Early Bird, and
Ooh,
they're, I mean, just as the name refers, they're only open for breakfast and lunch. So I think
love
they're
that.
open from like 6:30 or 7 in the morning all the way to like 2 p.m. Yeah.
Yes.
And on the weekends, they're absolutely packed.
Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah. Early Bird is one of the best. I've
They're
been
so
here.
good.
They have really good breakfast sandwiches, right? Or am I tripping?
So I've heard. I haven't had their breakfast sandwiches yet, but so I've
Okay.
heard.
Yes, I love Early Bird. It's kind of like it's Brea, but it also kind of feels like it's in Fullerton in a way. Is that
Yeah,
right? Like, okay, yes.
yeah.
This
It's
place
in
is
kind of
so
like
good. Yeah, the three
the
eggs, any
Bermuda Triangle.
style. Yeah, yeah, yeah. So it has they have really good sausage and I love their
Mhm.
tomato. They do their like tomatoes in a very, very classy way.
The tomato, oh my gosh, yeah. It's like they have some kind of like breading, like seasoned breading on top, and then they kind of like flash like like bake it in the oven, and it's just so crispy yet so flavorful. And I also love how they do their hash browns, that they add cheese and onion to it, and it's
So
so
good.
crispy. And oh yeah, so that's my favorite sit down. But if it's something that is like on the go, and especially for breakfast burritos, that's one of my favorite like breakfast brunch things. There's this place in Santa Ana, like Santa Ana, Costa Mesa area, called Nate's Corner,
Oh,
and they do breakfast burritos and hoagies. Also open from like 7 to 2:30, something like that. And their breakfast burritos are like pretty much like the size of your forearm,
no
like, or at least
way.
like, and they're loaded. They deep fry their hash browns so it's super crispy, and the eggs are over easy. They're fried and over easy.
Wow. Okay,
So
I'm gonna have to try Nate's Corner. Since we're talking about Brea, have you been to the classic Brea spot, Alicia's?
I have actually not heard of Alicia's. I know. I'm the criminal,
Oh,
apparently.
she's a force in Brea. You need to meet Alicia.
Mhm.
She's known for her cookies. It's a family owned restaurant, so like if you get a
Okay.
sandwich, she also includes cookies, and the cookies are
Oh,
so good. Um, you definitely need to try it out sometime. It's a great lunch spot. If you're ever in Brea,
okay.
really good spot to check out.
Good to know.
So yeah, yeah. So we got brunch. What about beverage? What's your go-to beverage in the mornings?
Lately, it's just been a standard like latte. So I have an AeroPress at home, so I'm able to just like pull espresso shots from there. But if I'm going out, like I'm usually an oat milk latte girly. But lately, I've been really liking cold brew. I don't know if it's just because like
Mm,
the weather is warming up. I mean, I'm always an iced coffee person, even when it's the dead of winter. I am that kind of person.
same here.
But yeah, so you get it. Yeah. So yeah, but lately I've been really enjoying cold brew as well. So just like a splash of like simple syrup and a splash of cream, just something less acidic, I suppose. So
Oh, that's smart. I
mhm.
like that. Um, what do you have a go-to coffee spot in Southern California that is one of your faves? It's like if you drive by it, you have to go in.
I'm trying to think because this year especially, I've been trying to hit up different coffee shops to work remotely from and everything. So I'm trying to like think of like the Rolodex of the places that I've been frequenting. I think one that I always love stopping by when I'm in Newport Beach area is Coffee Dose. So
Coffee Dose. I've never been to Coffee Dose.
So they have different locations. The one that I've been to the most is their little drive-through location called Microdose, and it's so great. Yeah, I think it's like their coffee's great. They have a frozen, almost like a frappuccino in a way, but it's cold brew, oat milk, and vanilla syrup, and it's very refreshing, very good. But I also love their tongue-in-cheek branding as well. Of like, it's like, hey, this is my can I swear? Or
yeah.
Okay, it's like anti-bitch serum essentially.
Oh my god, that's hilarious.
So, I'm a sucker when it comes to like cheeky branding or like packaging and all that as well. So yeah, I would say that's one of my favorite. Like, okay, if I'm in the area, I guess I gotta go to this. So.
That's amazing. There's a good coffee place. It used to be called Primo's Coffee in Huntington Beach. Now I think it's called like 265. There's a taco place right next to it called Sancho's Tacos. They're great if you're ever looking for a beach spot. But my all-time favorite spot, I found it because locally in the town that my family's from in LA, they had a visitor, and it was my hero, Keanu Reeves. And so like the rumor was like, he's at the local spot. And I was like, no way. So I went to the local spot, and he was like, no, he didn't come to my place. Down the street, he went to Tierra Mia. And so then I was like, well, I got to try this place. Tried Tierra Mia. It's my favorite coffee spot of all time. And I was like, of course Keanu knows the best coffee. Like this is, so they're like, their roasting factory is near Dodger Stadium, I want to say.
Oh, wow. Okay.
But they have locations everywhere in Southern California, like LA, Orange County, all that. Their oat milk latte is just the best. I'm not that schooled and educated in coffee. Mo just recently got me into coffee. But I have had I always have to memorize her order because it's so long. And so I always try to like slur it into one thing. So it's hot almond milk matcha latte with strawberry.
Ooh.
That is really good.
I'm not a big fan of matcha, but strawberry matcha lattes, I'm like, okay, this is actually very good.
Yeah.
I can't believe I forgot about Tierra Mia. I would say that's my other favorite spot, because I've been to the Fullerton location. There's actually one, I want to say like 10 minutes up the street from me. So, but I rarely go like that part of town, so I'm just like, so I guess it's like a sweet treat whenever I go there, but I love their horchata lattes. So
ooh, I need to try that. The best is when they give you something on accident. Yeah, when they give you something on an accident and you get to keep it and then try new things. Like
it's great.
So like I've tried a few of their drinks by them messing up the order and then being like, oh, just keep it. I'm like, all right, let's see what this one's about. But their pastries are so good. I think they bake the pastries in the LA location as well.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, their chocolate croissant is like one of my favorites. It's so good.
What's your favorite like whoopsie drink that you just ended up getting?
Ooh. Well, I didn't know. I think probably I want to say I tried the horchata one time. It would be that for sure, because I want to say that, and then I've tried one of their seasonal things, and that was really good. Their seasonal stuff, I think, is really, really good. Definitely worth checking out. Yeah, everything they make is pretty good. Like I don't know how they do it, but I hope that they're able to like stay at the size that they're at, because I feel like they're at the perfect size. I don't want them to grow so massive so fast that the quality changes, because you could pretty much get the same quality of their stuff at any of their locations. So I'm hoping it stays that way.
Yeah, same. I remember going to, I just remember going to, I think like the Pasadena location with Dan, and just had like, we grabbed a drink, and I'm like, this literally tastes like as if I just went to the one.
Yeah.
In Fullerton. It's so good.
That's what's so cool about it. I love it. Random question, but I was curious, what's the last concert you've been to?
Oh, I can't believe I forgot about this. It was Bruce Springsteen, actually.
Wait, what venue did you go to?
It was at the Kia Forum earlier this month. So
okay, my niece was there, and my uncle and family.
No kidding. Really?
Yeah, they're huge Bruce Springsteen fans.
Oh my gosh, that's amazing. Yeah, so Dan, my partner, well, I mean, you know Dan, obviously. But yeah, like Dan loves Bruce Springsteen, and so it was a ride with these tickets and with this concert, just because initially when Bruce announced the tour, there weren't any West Coast dates, or at least any California like tour dates. So I was like, okay, there's Seattle, but do we want to go all the way up to Seattle? And the tickets with like dynamic pricing and everything, it was just obscene. And then I just stumbled across that he like discreetly put in California dates. So I'm like, okay, we're gonna do this. We gotta go. We ended up getting the LA tickets, and they were supposed to be in December, but apparently there was a health scare for Bruce that he ended up postponing that part of the tour. So instead of all of the December dates, it was rescheduled to April. So it was to the point where it's like once we got there, it was like these tickets are practically free at this point. It was so long since we bought them.
No way, that's awesome. I'm so glad you got to go. I saw him once, and it was amazing. I'm also a huge Bruce Springsteen fan, and I'm glad that you guys got to go to that. That's amazing. And then what about last movie you saw in theaters?
So I'm horrible with seeing movies in a timely manner in theaters. So I'm trying to... Okay, so I might have to change the concert answer, because the last movie I saw was like one of those, they filmed the concert and they put it in IMAX.
Oh, yeah.
Things. So I'm a huge K-pop fan, especially BTS, and one of the members, Suga, did a whole tour last year, the year before. I think it was last year, just a whole solo tour, and they released the IMAX like version of the concert in theaters. So I was able to catch that in IMAX. Was completely vibing with the other BTS fans with my light stick. It was great. It was so fun.
I love that. I love when you can go to a theater to see kind of like a unique event. We saw When Harry Met Sally on Valentine's Day, and that was like super memorable. And I love that they're opening up theaters more and more to more unique kind of re-releases, or like when Final Fantasy VII Rebirth came out, they put one of the Final Fantasy VII films back in theaters. And I was like, oh, I wish I haven't finished any of the Final Fantasy VII games. So I was like, I don't want spoilers. I'm working my way very slowly through the original Final Fantasy VII. But I was like, oh, I wish I could have seen that, because that would be so fun to see in theaters.
Yeah.
What about your favorite video game soundtrack?
Ooh. Lately I've been listening to a lot of the lo-fi versions of video game soundtracks, but it's kind of like a mishmash of like different franchises. But I would say like the two that have like a very special places in my heart are Undertale and Maple Story. So with Undertale, especially when it comes to, because it's like an 8-bit game, and it's the music is or the 8-bit style, like 8-bit, 16-bit. And the music reflects that, but then there is a turning point in the game without like spoiling anything. There's a turning point in the game where there is like an acoustic song with like an acoustic guitar, and just once you hit that turning point in the game, it's just like right in the heart. So I think just because how they use music as a storytelling element, I would say that's my favorite. And then MapleStory, that was my gateway game. So just hearing the music of like the loading screen, I'm just like sucked back into middle school, logging into the game for the first time.
What is MapleStory? I love this art style. It reminds me of like kind of like Disgaea, but also even like Vanillaware. Like I'm playing Unicorn Overlord right now, and it kind of has that like fun kind of aesthetic. I don't know how to describe it, but what is this game?
Yeah, so it's an massive multiplayer online RPG, or MMO RPG. Yeah, and it's at least like how I play it. It's a cozy game that I'm literally just going around and just like adventuring and fighting monsters and everything. A lot of people get very hardcore into it, where it's just like grinding your levels, trying to like defeat mob bosses and everything. I think it's over 10 years old now. Or no, not even 10. It's a lot, like it's old. So
it says initial release date 2003.
That's what it was. That's what it was. Okay, yeah, because last year was their 20th anniversary. I was like, 10 doesn't sound right. It was one of those. So I'm crying on the inside now. But yeah, but that was my gateway game, because it was like, I remember my math tutors are like, "Hey, after you finish this worksheet, do you wanna play a game?" And I'm like, "What is it?" And then here we are. So
I love that. Mm-hmm. That's amazing. Okay, so I need to check out MapleStory. Yeah, I love the concept of a side-scrolling MMO. Mm-hmm. And it looks like it has so much personality.
It does. Yeah, like even the monsters too, like kind of feel bad killing them just because of how like cute they are. I remember back in the pandemic, like I had my Twitch streamer era, and I decided to stream MapleStory. And I remember like it was just my friends in the communities I moderated. They hopped into the chat. They're like, "Wait, why are you killing them?" And I'm like, "Don't blame me, blame the game. I'm sorry."
So there is such a thing as too cute of enemy design.
Mm-hmm. They're cute until they damage you, and then it's like, okay, in the name of survival, I gotta.
Right. I love that. Okay, and then maybe this is it, but what's the game that you've put the most hours into?
Ooh. Video game wise, MapleStory for sure. But if we want to do like overarching game, like including tabletop, Dungeons and Dragons.
I love that. Okay, so yeah. Then what's your quintessential Dungeons and Dragons experience? Is it like one campaign that you've played with friends your whole life? Is it joining new campaigns every couple years? Is there like a specific experience that you look back on as being the most fun or the most kind of nostalgic when you think about Dungeons and Dragons?
I've been able to go into like different campaigns with like different friend groups throughout the years. So I started playing D&D hilariously enough at college at APU. It was my very last semester, and they just started an adventure league like club on campus, and I got really involved with them and was heartbroken because I'm like, I'm literally graduating after this.
No.
So I'm like, you guys have fun. I'll see you on the other side and everything. And from there, been able to play like different one shots and ran a couple of one shots myself. One of the most memorable like campaigns I was a part of, it was also during the pandemic. one of my friends that I was a moderator for, he was really wanting to host a one shot with myself and the other moderators, and we're like, hey, what if we stream it? Like, I think it would be a fun thing. And from there, it was the famous last words of, yeah, this is just going to be a one shot, and it ended up turning into like a 1.5 year campaign of
No
like,
way.
yeah, like with deep storytelling and being able to have like incentives where the chat is able to have a way to interact with us, of like being able to give us hints if they like redeem X amount of like bits, or being able to go into this pool of unlocking a character memory that helps with the overarching plot of the story. And it was, unfortunately, we did have to shelve it just because the world was opening back up, and we were working on like 5 different time zones as well. So unfortunately, that was shelved. But I would say that's one of the more memorable campaigns that I was a part of. So yeah.
That's awesome. That's a great. Yeah, that sounds like a really cool way to blend, like, yeah, hanging out with friends, but also kind of cultivating an online community. So that's something that's new to me. How long have you been a moderator, and how did that transition into becoming a community manager for a video game studio?
Yeah, so I've been in community management with moderating for 10 years this year. Just realizing, yeah, that's the 10-year thing, not Maple Story. That's the 10-year. Yeah, so I've been able to cultivate engaging and welcoming communities since then for a couple of content creators, mostly with the folks from like the OG Smosh Games crew. So been able to help build like their individual communities as well as the overarching things. There, I remember there was a brand live stream that they were going to do on the main Smosh Games channel, and they messaged me. They were like, "Hey, are you free to moderate this?" And just like, say less, I'm there. But yeah, like how I got into that, I just stumbled into it. So my friend who was the DM, Wes, he was just starting to stream. At the time, he was an editor. He wasn't a full personality on the channel yet. But I remember hearing that he was streaming, and I'm like, oh, might as well, check out his like what he's got going on, and just kind of been repeatedly coming and everything. And fast forward, like I want to say a couple months later, he's like, "Hey, Nisa, you're here often. Here's the moderator sword," and just kind of threw it at me. I'm like, okay, I don't know what I'm doing here. So, and with the other moderators at the time too, they were like, "Yeah, welcome to the club. That happened to us too." So. Yeah, but from there, I've been able to kind of like stumble my way into community management and moderating, and making sure where it's like my philosophy with it is making sure that the party is going for a good time and a long time. So making sure that everybody's welcomed, everybody's having a good time, but also there are people that are trying to, be toxic or be messy. I'm just like, okay, bestie, no. Let's not do that. So, yeah. And then going into the gaming industry, I mean, honestly, it's wild just because at the time, like this has all been voluntary. So just been able to do it on the side while working a day job and everything, and it was more on like a content creator community versus like a full-fledged video game like player community. But obviously there are definitely some parallels with it too. So I knew I did ultimately want to make that career jump. It was just a matter of, proving myself, being like, yes, this is all volunteer based, but at the time, not even at the time, but like almost a decade's worth of experience with it, and trying to prove that I know what I'm doing and know what I'm saying. And thankfully, OCP, my studio, took that chance on me, and here we are. So
Yeah, that's so then when you're like when you took on the role at OCP, were you building from scratch a community or building off of prior existing like community engagement? How much of the job was you coming in and starting fresh versus sustaining a community?
yeah, it was 100% starting from scratch. So when
Wow.
I hopped in, we were projected like a month out from launching our socials. Like we weren't even like public yet. So it was being able to hop in and just say like, okay, what are the like core pillars of our community? What are the core values of what we're looking for, and what is our standard when it comes to establishing our community? And when the time comes, we have to do disciplinary action. What are the things that we need to have like as our standard? So I've been able to create um, the the pillars, been able to help cultivate and build the strategy on like engaging with the Discord. So I was focused more on the user retention side of things, while also helping with like the user like acquisition with our social media manager at the time too. Since startup life be startupping, you have multiple hats. So been able
Right.
to help with all of that, and we did have the Discord already built by the time I came in, but I helped like really finesse it to what it is now, and say like, okay, these are the things that we can do. These are the things that, unfortunately, whether it's on Discord's end or what we have right now as a game, this is something that we either can't do or we can do down the road once we hit these different benchmarks. So yeah, I think it's just like being able to start from scratch, and then like fully launching it at the end of July was so magical. And fast forward to as of this recording, hitting 1,000 members in our Discord, which is huge.
Yeah, that's incredible. So, what is the if there was a secret ingredient in your approach to building a healthy community that's active, that's interacting with each other, what is the core ingredient that you can't build a healthy community without?
Empathy. Like
Mm,
empathy. Yeah, because yes, at the end of the day, having like big numbers, like having hundreds of thousands of people in the Discord, or having like millions of followers on like Twitter or X, whatever it is by the time this is released. Um, that's all fine and dandy, but with your well, first, if there's no like engagement with those numbers, or the engagement is just kind of like spamming of just people just like slamming on the keyboard just because, then that doesn't really mean anything. Um, and also being able to, at least from the like the game devs and being able to look at the players as individual people instead of just numbers is going to go a long way, because especially these days people want to root for you and want to connect with you, and being able to have that kind of like not quite parasocial relationship, but having that kind of base of like, hey, I see you, you see me, let's work something out here, instead of just seeing them as a number, because at the end of the day no one wants to be marketed to, no one wants to be seen as just like a means to an end. So yeah.
yeah, how do you start from scratch? Like, how did you pull in 1,000 people? What is it using advertising? Is it using content? Like, are you guys creating original content? Is it through people just because you're not on Steam as an early access, right? Is there
We are on Steam. We are on Steam. We have playtest request access, but not.
Okay.
But that's the extent of what we have. We do have a Steam page, and we're very happy that we finally have it. But
Congratulations.
yeah.
That's awesome.
Thank
So
you.
is Steam then playing a role in discoverability? What is the main discovery tool that you guys are using to
Yeah.
meet new potential players, new potential community members?
Yeah, it's a mix of different channels. So we have our TikTok account as well. So it's like we post Monday to Friday, posting a motivational Monday, posting a couple of memes that relate to our game or relate to game deving. We also have clips from our Twitch channel. So we do stream ourselves on Twitch as well. Whether it's being able to show a sneak peek of Project Frontier and building a game within that, or playing games that are tangential to Project Frontier and trying to being like, hey, if you like this, you're most likely going to like what we're cooking right now. So we have our video editor Sam on Tuesdays playing Valheim because we pull quite a few like inspirations. So there's a couple of parallels with Valheim when it comes to gameplay for the survival and foraging aspect. And then we also have our developer relations manager Joe pulling from the NES maker community because they're a bunch of game devs and creators themselves. And then on Fridays, we just kind of dick around in Project Frontier or playing a co-op game like Among Us, and being able to like create content from there as well, and being able to talk to people on Twitch in the channels as well. So at least those are like the social media channels. The other aspects that we do too is honestly a lot of cold emailing and pulling connections. So we've been able to pull from different universities, both on the East Coast and West Coast. So I've been able to tap into as you specific with their game dev or their game design program. Joe has contacts with Ringling College of Art and Design and being able to pull into them as well and tapping into different communities and just being like, hey, we're a CP. We have something cool. You want to work together, and being able to talk with their communities as well. So
That's awesome. So it's a little bit kind of boots on the ground. It's a little bit of content creation. It's bringing people in behind the scenes. So then as a community manager, but it also sounds like you're also, yeah, it's like, is a community manager then also in a way a form of content creation? Is that kind of how you would describe most community managers, or is a community manager mostly focused on curating the community's engagement and the community's content on Discord? Like what are the kind of core pillars of being a community manager? If someone wants to get into this, what skills do they need to have?
Oh, it's that's kind of a challenging question because a lot of places, so community management in the games industry, or honestly in entertainment, I suppose as well, it's still kind of the Wild West where not everybody fully understands what it is, and it's also dependent on what each job is looking for. So even like depending on what job they're looking for, especially in a startup industry, which is something that I can speak on the most confidently in, it's very dependent. It's very dependent. I would say when it comes to someone that does want to get into community management, being able to have some sort of like, obviously empathy. If you like people or like to interact with people, congratulations, you got the biggest part down. The other things I would say, some kind of like communication, like whether it's like crisis management or like conflict resolution, that is incredibly helpful, especially when there are things of like if there's like a scuffle happening within the player community, or if there's even something where the players are wanting something but the game devs are not wanting to do it, or vice versa. You have to be the middle person between those two groups of people and saying like, okay, we need to come to some kind of resolution here. What is a compromise that we're willing to do? And another big thing would be writing as well. So that's something that I had learned, especially coming into this role, is you're going to be doing a lot of writing, whether it's copy for marketing or writing up rules or writing up announcements or game updates. So definitely brushing up your creative writing skills would be incredibly helpful as well. So I would say those are like the basis for
what's your go-to when you're asking yourself, like, should this have an apostrophe S or just an S? Or should this be a comma? Like, what is your go-to grammar correction tool?
Google, honestly. I'm just like, But when it comes to like apostrophe S or just an S, I'm like, okay, if it's plural, then there's no apostrophe. If it's going to be like, if it's supposed to be like X is or like possessive, then the apostrophe. If it's both, S, then apostrophe. But when it comes to like commas, when it comes to commas and everything, I try to like not overwhelm it. I also look at it like, is it going to overwhelm the user when they read it? Or because a lot of times when I'm writing, if it's like from scratch, it's not like dev updates that I'm pulling and I'm just kind of revising it. I kind of do first like a stream of consciousness brain dump, and then I go back and read it and like, okay, there's like 3 apostrophes and it's not listing anything in this one sentence. We got to fix that. And also being able to zhuzh it up with like a semicolon or an M dash or something to make it look more professional.
I love that. So Project Frontier is a collaborative action RPG. You mentioned Valheim. What other games or titles help people get an idea for what the game is going to feel like from a gameplay perspective? I know you guys mentioned explore, survive, strategize, and conquer. So yeah, could you speak a little bit to maybe the action RPG part first? Because you kind of touched on the survival elements with Valheim.
Yeah. So the best way I can describe what Project Frontier is like you take the survival, crafting, and forging aspects of Valheim, like I mentioned. So being able to get resources, upgrade your weapons, upgrade your fortress, and being able to like explore the land as well. And then you take the the session-based co-op of Helldivers and being able to work together with your team in order to make decisions, and it's all also, I mean, session-based, that's pretty self-explanatory. So everything is encapsulated into one game session. So there's that as well. And hear me out on this one, Among Us as well, when it comes to social gameplay. So when it comes to, when you jump into Project Frontier, you are loading up with 2 teammates as well on your team, and you're trying to work together, like in Helldivers. But there are other teams as well and other players that you can either form an alliance with them and work together so you can both win, or you can be hostile to them and, every man for themselves. So with all of this combined, Project Frontier, when it comes to collaborative action and also like the strategy and the conquering elements of the game too, your choices matter, where the gameplay can change at the drop of a hat depending on the choices that either you make, your team makes, or another team makes. And it can turn the game from PvP to PvE or some wild mishmash in between. So again, you can either ally with teams, you can be hostile with teams, or if you really want to be chaotic, you can form an alliance with a team and betray them in the end as well. So it's a fun mishmash of like the world is your oyster when it comes to this, and each session, at least the hope is that each session is unique and there's no two like sessions that are the same.
So, as far as the team behind the game, could you tell us a little bit about kind of the origin, big picture of who's behind it from the game design perspective, or game director, lead programmer, kind of who's kind of the names behind this?
Oh yeah, so our two co-founders, Mike and Nick, they are from Epic Games, so they've worked on like UEFN, Fortnite, Gears of War, and everything. And we have so many industry veterans. Like, I am exceptionally grateful to be working alongside these titans in the industry. We have people that have worked in Roblox. I mean, we have so many people coming in from the Epic team, or from the Fortnite team from Epic Games. We have people that have worked on the Doom franchise. Our director of programming has worked on that. We have people coming in from oh my gosh, so many. Just a lot. Like, if you're thinking of like Blizzard Entertainment, if you're thinking of Epic Games, if you're thinking of like Riot and everything. So we have so many people from the industry like working alongside creating this.
So it sounds like some Orange County devs, some LA devs, some Texas devs, and then is it North Carolina where Epic Games is? So is that kind of like the different overlapping kind of regions of where everyone's coming from, those different scenes?
Yeah, so we are actually fully like distributed like global. When I say global, wow, we have people from New Zealand, we have people in Russia, we have people in Europe as well. Texas, Florida, North Carolina is a big hub just because of all the Epic Games people. California, Pacific Northwest, Canada. Yeah, we're all over. It's wild.
That's awesome. Yeah, really cool. So yeah, there's some really cool DNA in the creative team behind the project. Is there anything else about the game or community management that we didn't touch on that you wanted to mention before we close out?
Yeah, I would say like I do want to mention one awesome thing about Project Frontier is that besides it being like a session-based co-op action RPG, it's fully moddable, and it's being able to blur the line between player and creator. So we have something that is also in the works called Creator Lab. And as a matter of fact, Project Frontier is fully built on Creator Lab. So it's a sandbox mode where you're able to mod the game, create your own content, and being able to mix and match content as well. So that's the other thing too, when each session is unique, you are also able to make each session unique as well. So, for example, if you have an idea on creating a very OP weapon, whether it's like a sword that, like throws like fireballs when you swing at it, you can make that with like the Lego blocks of what we give in Creator Lab. If you have an idea on a quest, you can make that. If you want to even change up the win-loss conditions, you're able to do that as well. So we're essentially being able to give their tools and resources to the players out the gate, not having to like download external programs, download like external mods and everything, and being able to go from play to create and vice versa in just a few clicks. So, and also having it being accessible for everybody, whether you do have a programming background or a game dev background. I have no programming or game dev background, yet I'm able to spin up a server and load up a game just because of how efficient and easy it is. Of course, game dev be game devin'. It's still very early in development, but like what we have now is really magical, and I can't wait to see like how like much more it's going to improve as well.
That's awesome. Well, yeah, I'm super excited to see this roll out. And where can people find out more about Project Frontier? Where do you want them to head over to?
Yeah, so we have our Discord. That is our big hub when it comes to any updates, any news, and that is ocp.gg/Discord. So that just inject that link and it'll take you to our Discord. We have a very thriving community of people just like chatting, being able to show what they're working on. Also, that is where we do our playtests. We are going to have a big playtest happening in the next couple of months, so be on the lookout for that. Those who are in the Discord before we fully announce the dates actually have higher priority when it comes to playtester access, so there's that as well.
Sweet. And if they want to follow along with you, where can they find you?
Yeah, so I'm at Nizareth on every platform. I would say the best place to get in touch with me is Twitter, actually. So you can follow me on TikTok. Just I apologize in advance for the shit posts that I might be posting. But yeah, so I'm at Nizareth on every platform.
Sweet. Well, thank you so much for doing this. It was really fun talking, and there's a lot that I'd love to talk about more in the future. So we'll have to do this again in some form. But I hope you have a great rest of your day, and thanks for having some breakfast and chilling, talking Bruce, talking MMOs, and appreciating Tira Mia together. Many good times were had.
Yes, indeed. I might actually hit up Tira Mia after this.
Yes! Oh, so jealous. Cool.
No,
well,
thank you so much.
Guys. Yeah, thank you guys for watching, and we will see you guys later. Bye.